Like, let's just start it off. Just talk about your childhood growing up in Dayton, Ohio. When did you fall in love with music?
Well, as a child, I used to we had a stereo system back when you dropped your 45s from the spindle and the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
Um, I used to stare at the records going around as a little guy, and I would remember certain songs by the labels. So my mother would she would trip her friends out by saying, "Steve, go play Motown, so and so, or go play Atlantic." And I would remember this before I really could read. I'd remember the labels and I would remember how long the name of the song was. And a lot of times I got it right, right?
Right.
So I was always fascinated with music. Um, my first interest in music was I wanted to play drums. So I played pots and pans, books of various sizes to get tones. And I'm like, what, 3, 4, 5 years old when all that's going down.
Hmm.
So as long as I can remember, I've loved music. And then my parents saw and older brothers told me I was always fascinated by it just from day one.
Beautiful. So, did you play in church, or did you join like the school band, or did you focus on the local scene?
Well, a little of all of that. I used to go to church all the time, and my great uncle was the preacher, Bethsaida Baptist Church in Dayton, Ohio. And we used to go to church, and he called me Music. That was my nickname. He didn't say Music. He didn't call me Steve. He called me Music. I did not know why. I was a little guy, right?
Hmm.
So even he saw something in me when I was just a little head, right? So I used to sing in the children's choirs from time to time, the youth choir. Uh, but then my brother, older brother Victor, he used to have local bands, and I'd watch them rehearse. And my brother's 7 years older than me, so when I was just a little guy, I used to watch all these great musicians out of Dayton. They practiced in my basement. I sat on the steps, right, and
Hmm.
watched them. As time went on, getting into 12, 13, I was able to play with cats my own age and do the talent shows, battle of the bands, and things like that. And just always was music was always around. My mother played wonderful music, and my brother's like 7, 8 years older. Gary was 8 years, Victor 7, and so they introduced me to so much music. My mother was into, like, let's say, Jimmy Smith, Walk on the Wild Side. She was into early Etta James. And then my brothers were into Motown, and the one brother would be into like the Beatles and the Doors. So I had this cross section of styles of music between the church,
Hmm.
being at home, and then my brother's band, the Soul Agents. That was just music always around.
Okay.